Demodex. These microscopic, eight-legged squatters are currently conducting a multi-generational systemic detonation party inside your pores. Specifically, Demodex folliculorum and its cousins have claimed residency on your face since the day you were squeezed into this world. They spend their entire lives head down in your sebaceous glands, gorging themselves on sebum, the natural oil your body produces to keep your skin from cracking. They're the ultimate master squatters. Because they lack an anatomical exit for waste, they simply store their excrement inside their own bodies until they eventually liquefy and rupture on your skin, releasing a lifetime of accumulated bacteria and toxins directly into your cheeks. It is a microscopic kamikaze strike that happens every night while you dream. You've felt that ghostly crawl before. It is 2:15 a.m. and you feel a faint electric twitch across your forehead. You tell yourself it is just a stray hair or a breeze from the fan. It isn't. It is the Demodex emerging from their holes to travel across your face to find a mate in the darkness. They move at a lightning pace of 16 millimeters an hour, using your eyebrow as a high-density nightclub. You wake up with oily skin or a breakout and blame your diet or a $20 pharmacy cream. But in reality, you are looking at a graveyard of mites that spent the night celebrating on your nose. Does it bother you to know your face is a tenement building for creatures that literally expire from being full of their own trash? Demodex is the perfect metaphor for the invisible extraction we all ignore. They are the roommates you never invited, proving that even your own skin is no longer private property. Your skincare is just their buffet. While these surface dwellers are content with your oil, the next guests are biological debt collectors tracking your very breath to find a vein. Control was always an illusion. Bedbugs. This flat, reddish-brown biological debt collector is currently tracking the carbon dioxide you exhale to find a path to your jugular. Cymex lectularius feeds exclusively on human blood and possesses more patience than your bank and a better memory than your ex. They can go up to a year without a single meal, waiting in the silence for the exact moment you fall into a deep sleep. Once they find you, they inject a specialized cocktail of anesthetic and anticoagulant. They don't want you to wake up. They want you comfortable and compliant while they drain your biological vitality to fuel their next generation of blood-sucking interns. You know the feeling of the Wednesday morning betrayal. You wake up at 6:45 a.m. with 3 red welts in a perfect line on your arm, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner pattern of a bug that has zero respect for your personal boundaries. You spend the next 3 months in a state of clinical paranoia. You bag up your clothes in black plastic like you're hiding a body. You lie awake at 3:12 a.m. with a high-lumen flashlight, staring at the seams of your pillows, convinced that every speck of lint is a moving enemy. Do you really believe you are the master of your house when a bug the size of an apple seed can force you to treat your own mattress like a hazard zone? The bedbug is the perfect physical manifestation of the modern economy. It enters your life silently, takes exactly what it needs to survive at your expense, and leaves you exhausted and hyper-vigilant. You are just a meal on legs. This bed-dwelling scavenger is a nuisance, but it's a luxury compared to the translucent vampire currently waiting for you to take a swim in the Amazon. Sleep is just a transaction. The Candiru. This translucent 2-inch vampire fish is waiting for you to leak your personal data into the river so it can move in permanently. Vandellia serosa normally targets the gills of larger fish to feast on their blood, detecting the flow of water in the presence of urea. Unfortunately for you, it mistakes the human anatomy for the breathing of its usual prey. It is equipped with backward-pointing barbs on its gill covers, ensuring that once it enters a narrow orifice, it isn't coming out without a surgeon and a very humiliating medical bill. It is the only vertebrate parasite known to accidentally target human plumbing, turning a vacation dip into a life-altering emergency. Imagine your Tuesday afternoon. You are on a dream vacation, taking a dip in the river to feel at one with nature. You think you are being adventurous and free. Suddenly, a sharp, white-hot needle of pain shoots through your lower abdomen. It isn't a cramp. It is a fish that has mistaken your private regions for a cozy studio apartment. You spend the next 12 hours in a state of primal, screaming agony, being rushed to a clinic that doesn't have enough morphine to cover the horror. Are you prepared to explain to a team of total strangers why there is a barbed fish currently living inside your anatomy? Or is your sense of adventure finally starting to feel like a liability? The Candiru is the ultimate reminder that the shortcut is usually a trap. It is a biological lesson in why you should never trust an environment you don't control. Nature hates your vacation plans. While this fish swims up your plumbing, the next parasite is boring through your feet to begin its grand tour. Dignity is a fragile construct. Hookworms. This soil-dwelling scavenger uses specialized enzymes to dissolve the flesh of your feet just to get a ride into your bloodstream. Nicator americanus starts its journey as a larva, waiting in the dirt for a warm, fleshy target to walk by. It doesn't wait for you to eat it. It bores directly through your skin on contact. Once inside, it hits a ride to your lungs, gets coughed up, and is then swallowed into your digestive tract. It uses literal hooks to anchor itself into your gut lining and begins drinking your blood, producing an anticoagulant so your wounds never heal, ensuring a constant flowing tap of your life force. The experience starts with ground itch, a red, stinging rash on your foot that you ignore because you think you hit some poison ivy while walking to the mailbox. Fast forward 3 months, and you are living in a fog of crushing fatigue. You are pale, you are breathless, and your brain feels like it has been stuffed with wet cotton. You are exhausted at 2 p.m. on a Thursday, despite having done absolutely nothing of value. You are anemic and irritable, all because a collective of worms is hosting an open-bar party in your small intestine. Have you ever wondered if your chronic fatigue is actually just a 9-to-5 job for a parasite that is more productive than you are? The hookworm is the biological version of a high-interest payday loan. It enters your life with a small, itchy cost and slowly drains your equity until you are a hollowed-out shell. You are leaking from within. These foot travelers are amateurs compared to the 14-inch tube of muscle currently exploring your throat while you sleep. You are just the fuel. Ascaris. This 14-inch tube of muscle is currently taking a grand tour of your respiratory system while you try to enjoy your lunch. Ascaris lumbricoides is the master of the long game. Once ingested through contaminated food, the eggs hatch and the larvae embark on a circuit of your internal organs. They migrate through your liver and into your lungs, where they stay for weeks, causing a persistent, dry cough. You think you have a mild cold or seasonal allergies. In reality, you are coughing up live worm larvae and instinctively swallowing them back down, completing their circuit so they can mature into foot-long adults in your gut. The experience is a slow, bloated nightmare. You spend your days feeling an odd, heavy discomfort in your abdomen. You are nauseous, gassy, and you feel a strange, tugging sensation in your core that you dismiss as indigestion. One morning, you are brushing your teeth at 7:15 a.m., and you have a coughing fit so violent that a 10-inch creamy white worm actually slides out of your nose and into the sink. You stand there, staring at the porcelain, realizing your body isn't a temple, it's a manufacturing plant for a creature that looks like wet twine. Can you ever truly feel clean again, knowing a foot-long tube of muscle is exploring your throat while you sleep? Ascaris is the internal bureaucracy of rot. It takes up space, consumes your resources, and ensures you are constantly aware of its presence, even when you try to ignore the truth. You aren't eating, for one. These gut dwellers are disgusting, but the next parasite doesn't want your food. It wants to take over your personality and rewire your brain. You are never eating alone. Toxoplasma gondii. This microscopic cult leader is currently editing your personality because you spent too much time cleaning a litter box. While it can infect almost any warm-blooded animal, it only reproduces sexually inside cats, making it the most effective marketing agent for the feline species. Once inside your system, it forms dormant cysts in your brain and muscle tissue, where it can stay for the rest of your terminal existence. In rodents, this parasite literally rewires the brain to lose its fear of cats, turning a prey animal into a delivery service for the parasite's reproductive cycle. The you experience is subtler than a worm, which makes it infinitely more terrifying. You don't feel sick, you just feel a little more impulsive. Statistical studies suggest that humans carrying these cysts are more likely to display aggressive behavior and take unnecessary financial risks. You are sitting in a meeting at 10 a.m., making a high-stakes decision that could ruin your career, and you think it's boldness. In reality, it might just be the feline waste product in your amygdala dampening your sense of danger. Have you ever stopped to consider that your original personality is actually just a side effect of a microscopic protozoan trying to get you eaten? This mental hijacker is impressive, but it's a gentle guest compared to the fly that wants to turn your arm into a nursery. Toxoplasma is the perfect metaphor for ideological possession. It enters your mind without a sound, alters your behavior to suit its own needs, and convinces you that every reckless thought you have is your own original idea. You aren't the pilot anymore. The Botfly. This biological home invasion begins with a kidnapping and ends with a maggot using your forearm as a breathing snorkel. The adult fly doesn't even touch you. It kidnaps a mosquito mid-air, glues its eggs to the mosquito's belly, and lets the smaller insect do the dirty work. When that mosquito lands on your arm at 5 p.m. to steal a drop of blood, your body heat triggers the eggs to hatch instantly. The larva drops into the bite wound and begins boring downward, using backward-pointing spines to ensure that any attempt to pull it out results in it anchoring deeper into your living tissue. The U experience is a masterclass in psychological dread. For the first few days, you think you have an infected mosquito bite. You apply a little ointment and move on with your life. But then, on a quiet Sunday afternoon while you're reading a book, you feel a sharp, stabbing crunch inside your own skin. It's the larva rotating its body to feed on your flesh. You look down and see a small hole in your arm that appears to be breathing. That's because it is. The maggot is using its tail to pull oxygen from the surface while it turns your muscle into a buffet. Does it make you feel productive to know that while you're relaxing, you are actually working a full-time shift as an unpaid biological incubator? This localized squatter is disturbing, but the next parasite wants to spend a year hiding in your connective tissue before it makes its exit. The Botfly is the ultimate metaphor for the hidden costs of free interactions. Every small annoyance in your life might just be a carrier for a much deeper, more painful extraction that you won't notice until it starts moving under your surface. Nature doesn't need your consent. The Guinea Worm. This 3-foot-long living thread is currently using your leg as a slow-motion exit ramp. It enters your system through a single sip of stagnant water, hiding inside microscopic fleas like a Trojan horse. While you go about your mundane, unaware life, the worm is busy breeding in your abdomen. The female transforms into a 3-foot-long needle, migrating through your connective tissue for a year, searching for a way to break through your surface. You don't notice the invasion for 12 months, during which time it has integrated itself into your very anatomy. Then, at 3:14 a.m. on a Tuesday, you feel a sensation like a hot needle being pressed into your ankle from the inside. There is movement under the skin, a slow, deliberate ripple that makes your stomach turn. You realize you can't just pull it out. If it snaps, the worm rots inside your muscle, triggering an unsolicited biological cessation. You have to wind it around a small stick, 1 agonizing inch every 24 hours. You spend a month literally reeling yourself in like a fishing line. This primitive biological spear is a masterpiece of discomfort, but it is practically a spa treatment compared to the nematode that wants to swim across your eyeball while you watch. The guinea worm is the ultimate middle manager of the natural world. It takes up residence in a space it didn't pay for, remains invisible while it creates a massive problem, and then forces you to do all the manual labor to fix its mess. Your labor is not yours. Loa Loa. This filarial nematode is the ultimate voyeur, spending its life exploring your anatomy from the inside until it decides to cross your field of vision. It enters your body through the bite of a deer fly that is more interested in your blood than your personal space. For years, the larvae crawl through the subcutaneous tissue just beneath your skin, traveling at a pace of about 1 centimeter per minute. They are the traveling, uninvited guests of the natural world, occasionally causing swellings that appear and disappear like ghostly reminders that you are never truly alone. The you experience is the moment your sanity finally snaps. You're standing in front of your bathroom mirror at 7:30 a.m., trying to brush your teeth, when you feel a strange, itchy sensation across the bridge of your nose. You lean in closer, and suddenly, you see it. A thin, translucent 2-inch thread is slithering across the white of your eye, right beneath the surface. You watch, frozen in primal horror, as a literal worm swims past your pupil, looking back at you while you look at it. You can feel the friction of its movement against your eyeball, a sensation so violating that you'll never trust your own reflection again. How does it feel to know that your most precious sense is currently being used as a scenic highway for a parasite? This visual violation is a horror movie, but the next one is a total system delete button. Loa Loa is the physical embodiment of the lack of privacy in the modern world. It proves that even your own gaze can be compromised by an uninvited guest. Eye contact is now optional. Naegleria fowleri. This thermophilic executioner is currently dissolving your memories because you took a refreshing jump into a warm lake. It is the ultimate auditor of the microscopic world. It doesn't want your blood or your skin. It wants your nervous system. It enters your body when water is forced up your nose, usually on a hot Tuesday afternoon. Once inside, it follows the olfactory nerves directly through the bone plate and into your brain. There, it begins secreting enzymes that literally liquefy and consume your brain tissue for nutrients. The you experience is a 97% fatality rate disguised as a common cold. 5 days after your swim, you wake up with a headache. By lunchtime, you're nauseous. By the next morning, you have a stiff neck and are starting to hallucinate. Your brain is swelling inside your skull, and the amoeba is liquidating your history and your motor functions faster than the doctors can diagnose the failure. There is no recovery. There is only a rapid descent into systemic cessation. You spent your life trying to expand your mind, only to have it physically deleted by a single-celled organism you couldn't even see. Was that splash of water really worth the total erasure of your existence? Naegleria fowleri is the final system crash. It is the ultimate proof that the universe is indifferent to your potential, your history, and your humanity. It is a biological delete button that nature presses just for the fun of it. Your body is not yours.